Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Pittman and I'm presenting on a during reading strategy, and that strategy is annotating a text. What does it mean to annotate a text? Basically, students are actually writing on the text or on notes that they can stick on the text or on a Google Doc if that's what they're reading, but they're actively engaging with the text through writing. What are the benefits of annotating a text? It deepens their understanding because they're really thinking as they write. It allows students to make and identify connections. Students can identify unknown words, so circle vocabulary that's unfamiliar to them. They can identify areas of confusion. So if a part of the story isn't making sense, they can make note of that to come back to. And they can also just create placeholders. So maybe they want to come back to this sentence as a piece of evidence for their upcoming essay, or maybe they want to come back to this paragraph to share with their class during discussion, or maybe they want to ask their teacher a question about this section. So they're leaving themselves markings and placeholders that they can return to. And teachers can direct this too. They can give students a goal for annotating or something to focus on so that they're actually engaging with the text for a purpose. There are some examples. This can look a lot of different ways. So it can start off really basic. So you might start with a strategy like X marks the spot, where you're just using symbols to annotate. So maybe an X for a key point or a question mark where you're confused. But it's a beginner level way to annotate and interact with the text. As students get a little more used to annotating, they might try something like this 3-2-1 annotation strategy, where they're pausing to identify important details or connections or questions in a more structured way. When students get more advanced, then you can really break down the way that you want them to annotate. The freshmen at my school, they annotate with a 3-level annotation system. So they have to actually mark the level. So they label their note with a 1 or a 2 or a 3. And they have to be really specific about their annotation. They can't just underline it, but they have to write the question or identify the vocabulary word. Or as they get into the more complex levels, identifying what's the author's claim or what's the theme of the story. So they're starting to think about text in a more complicated way. You can get really creative with annotations. I've seen teachers use like text speak for annotation. This one has the example of LOL, BRB, I want to come back to this, OMG, it's surprising. So you can come up with whatever symbols that you want. But you want to make sure that you're assessing their annotations, you're holding your students accountable for really engaging with and interacting with the text, and then gradually building them up to that upper level annotation skill where they're really looking at author's craft and literary techniques and things that are really important as they grow as readers and writers. Thank you all for listening. I hope you are able to try out this strategy with your students.